Welcome back to Baseline Fresh Detailing. This is part 2 of my Lexus RX 350 series. In this video, we'll be doing an interior detailing, a full vacuum, and a steam of this disaster detail, red Lexus SUV. Let's get started. My client had a dog that went everywhere with them, so there's lots of pet hair and fur embedded into these removable carpeted mats. So before we tackle the actual inside of the car, I'll get these mats all brushed out and vacuumed up, and then we have a couple rubber mats with tons of grime and years of dirt built into those, so I'll give that a pre-soak with some APC. And then I'll brush them down and give them a pressure wash. Looking at these carpeted mats from this Lexus, years of build-up here. I had actually beat the mats, got a lot of the dust out of them, held them in the air and made sure a lot of the major stuff was gone. And even then, you can see here in front of you, there's still tons of dirt on here, tons of hair. So in a case like this with pet hair, using some sort of rubber tool really helps attract that hair. So go in there with some sort of tool like that. As you can see here, I have multiple little rubber tools, and then you can also use a medium bristle brush to give it a final brush down, and then go in with your vacuum and make it look great again. For super dirty seats, you can always pressure wash them and hit them with a little bit of Woolite. But these weren't that bad, and the customer didn't have time to wait for them to dry, so I just opted to brush them as well as I could and then vacuum them out. And it is a crazy difference here, as you can see from the before and afters, a really big difference. Moving on to the rubber mats, one of the most satisfying things. I love this part of the job. You always see such a difference bringing back that dark richness to the mat. Here I pre-treated it with a little bit of APC, and then I had leftover soap and water from my bucket earlier. I poured it onto them, let it soak for a little bit, went in with a medium bristle brush and massage that in there, and then just spray them off with the pressure washer, and it's super fun. Then you can just leave them out to dry. Later on, I did come back and give them a wipe down with some Chemical Guys VPR. It'll bring that darkness back to the rubber, and it'll give it some UV protection and make it look brand new again. Jumping to the interior of this Lexus RX 350, starting off with the driver's side here. Even if this carpet wasn't such a nice light shade, I'm sure we would still see all of the mess that's here. It's very apparent the use that this car has been through. They said they recently went camping in it. They've had their dogs up front and in the back, so there's fur everywhere. And as you can see, a big difference when I do my first round of vacuuming, and then I still have to go in with my brush. So there's even more to find and uncover layered deep in these carpets. As you go through, try to make good use of a toothbrush and a long vacuum attachment to get in between the seats and underneath, along the railings, under where your hand is, never gonna reach. It's good to have the proper tools to help you. It's those little differences that help you get into the creaks and crevices and the details. That's what's gonna set you apart from the rest of the competition. For these large areas, I have my drill brush, and I also have a hand bristle brush that I use. Go in there, it's super fun using the drill brush. Get as wide of an area as you need. You can see me focusing along the edges of the carpets where things like to build up, closer to the door area, little rocks and pebbles, and then where you rest your feet near the pedals and the dead pedal off to the left. There's usually a lot of salt and dirt buildup around there, so I take some extra time with the drill brush and then I vacuum it all up. Every once in a while you might see me tap the floor with my vacuum. This actually helps vibrate the carpet and remove some of that grit that's stuck in there. It can be a very useful thing. I've seen videos of people using back massagers and certain tools to help them sort of vibrate the ground and get that stuff out there. It does work, and it's a great tool to have, but depending on the carpet type, it works better on some than others. So usually I just use my brush and sort of pound the ground a little bit to loosen that stuff up. Along the rear end here, you can see a ton of debris. This is where the dog liked to hang out, so there was lots of mud and clumps of dirt and stuff like that. But this Stanley shop vac has been very trusty, and I love using it, so I know it'll make quick work of all this debris. The vacuum stage is probably one of the stages of detailing that takes the longest. I usually just zone out, and it can be easy to just get lost in all the details and spend a lot of time using your toothbrush on a small area, and you kind of forget you have the rest of it to do. So managing your time and having a proper plan is a great tool to keep you on task, to keep you consistent, and make sure you're doing the best amount of work in the time you have and not waste your time. You can always come back to trouble areas later. You can always put finishing touches on stuff, but it's important to get the majority of it done in a timely manner and to show your customer that they're getting their money's worth. This trunk is a really big, wide open area. It did take a good amount of time to get it all looking nice, but it was definitely worth it. Working along here, I do have to admit, when I arrived here to work for this client, I was thinking maybe this would take 3 hours or 4 hours at the most. I did not realize it was this bad. The client even apologized to me and said he should have warned me better, but it ended up taking me well over 5 hours. I actually had to cut it early. The customer had other business that night, so he needed me gone for a certain time. I wasn't able to fully finish this SUV. I steamed the front portion, the driver's side and all of that. I finished up my vacuuming, but there was still some areas like the rear seats that I did not get to wipe down. The rear headliner I did not get to wipe. Thankfully I was able to steam and wipe all the doors and the front areas where the driver would be interacting with the most. The customer understood. The customer was fully okay with that. We did have a discussion on it. So that's part of the business as well, is knowing what to expect, having a discussion with your customer when the time comes. But I would say I had made a great impact on this car and a really big difference. Let me know down in the comments below if you think this job looked like I cut it early, or if you think they got their money's worth out of it. Of course, I apologize to the client, but they were totally understanding of it. It makes me realize that there are things that you can always improve on, and you need to be aware that the situation could change at any moment, and you have to react to that properly. So it was a great learning lesson and opportunity. I'm sorry I couldn't finish this SUV, but I think it still turned out pretty well with what I was able to do with it. We move on now to our steam portion. You can see I have my Bissell steam shot with me and a collection of microfiber towels. Depending on the surface that I'm working on, doors are usually a little dirtier, so I can use a rougher, older microfiber for that. Around the touchscreen and the dash gauges, those plastics are usually very sensitive, so you want a newer, more soft, clean microfiber. And then obviously around the steering wheel and the gauges and switches, those are going to have a lot of oils and dirt, so you're going to want to use, once again, its own separate microfiber for all these areas. As you can see, the steamer is making quick work of all this grime and dirtiness. I love using the steamer for the gear switches, inside cup holders. It's a really useful thing. It cuts my cleaning time basically in half. I would never try and do a detailing job without my steamer anymore. You really need that. finally, we can check out our before and after shots. All of this crazy debris and dirt that was messing up this white carpet has been gone. You can see I've gone through all the little corners and details and tried to vacuum it out as good as possible. And then on the exterior, we made this paint shine again. All the years of abuse just washed right off, and we brought back the shine with a great wash and wax. The doors look good on the inside. The dashboard was all steamed. The customer was happy. The doggo was definitely happy, investigating all the new smells and seeing the difference after years of abuse. So I was happy with it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe. Please share this with your friends if you think they'd be interested. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks a lot. I'm AJ Supal. This is Baseline Fresh.